What is up, everyone? Good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. I'm on my knees. I am pleading, get this done. Spend the money, give them whatever they want, and bring Richard Rios from Palmeiras to Rome. I think I would have optical illusions when it comes to a midfield duo consisting of Manu Kone and Richard Rios. It would be such a big upgrade. That we kind of have lacked so much quality in the middle of the pitch for so much time. This would be so good. This is very complicated, but Roma are preparing a blitz move. Di Marzio has confirmed this, and most importantly, another very reliable source, Filippo Biafora from Il Tempo has said the Roma have started contacts. Roma are gathering information at first. And they're trying to understand how to set this deal because it won't be easy. Palmeiras want 30 million to let him go, which is a lot of money for us. But I'll be very honest with you. Out of all the names that we've been linked with and out of all the price tags that I've read, this is the player, out of all the names that we've been currently linked with, that I would spend the money that the club is asking for to sign him. I think we need a player like him so much. But not always. Look, when I look at him, I don't necessarily only look at the technical side, and I don't only necessarily look at what he's done and everything. He's played a great Club World Cup with Palmeiras, and he's one of their main players. So I don't necessarily look at that. I think you need to look at. Also, when signing a player like him, you need to see who you're replacing him for. We need to replace Paredes. Now, like him or not, Paredes was a pivot of the Roma mechanism. He simply was. Now, I know that a lot of Roma fans don't like Paredes all of a sudden because he wants this Boca move. I agree. If he wants the Boca move, he needs to go. I'm the first one to agree on this. But, this is where the average Roma fan comes in, and this is where our fan base gets characterized very often. That you're mad with a player because a player leaves, and all of a sudden you call a player shit. Paredes is shit, let him go, we don't even need him. That's not true. Paredes is a pivot of this Roma team. What Paredes offers on the football pitch, not a lot of players in this current Roma team can do. So you need to look at who you're replacing, and you need to replace him properly. You can't replace Paredes with somebody like this. Paredes is a World Cup champion. Paredes is somebody who's got balls this big. Paredes is somebody who puts that Argentinian gara on a football pitch that, will make you win a derby, will make you win one of those important games. Paredes hasn't missed a penalty. Whenever he was there, he scored. You see what I mean? It's not easy to replace Paredes. And I know that a lot of people might not agree on this because they've got this image of Paredes. Paredes needs to leave. Paredes needs to, Paredes needs to go because Paredes has betrayed us. If Paredes wants to go to Boca, let him go. Fine. Absolutely. He's wanted this Boca move since the day he joined us, basically. But from there to go, Paredes is shit, I won't tolerate. Because Paredes has been massively important for our team. And you need to replace him properly. So by replacing him with Richard Rios, not only he's a very technical player, but I look at that personality. Richard Rios is another one of those players which put that South American gara on the pitch. He's not Argentinian like Paredes, he's Colombian. Put that, Bogota street food, not street food, what football, street football, not street food. That Bogota street football inside the walls of the Olympico. That's what we need. And next to Manu Kone, I can only see positive things. So yeah, he is the player that, out of all the players that we've been linked with, and we've heard of price tags, he's the player that I would pay the money that Palmeiras are asking for. Now, you see, if we need to spend 30 million on one single player, then let's say we can only spend 30 million on either Richard Rios or Wesley, because pretty much it's the same. Flamengo asking 25 million, Palmeiras are asking 30 million. If you can only spend 30 million on one of the two, it has to be Richard Rios. I don't even want to hear people go, it must be on Wesley. No, it needs to be on Rios. It must be on Rios. Because out of the two, he's probably the closest one to that 30 million valuation. I haven't seen much of Wesley, and I haven't seen much of Richard Rios either. But I've seen more of Rios. I know more of Rios. And I personally think that out of the two, this is my own take, he's the closest one to the valuation that the club is asking for. And by the way, not mentioning what he would offer. I said this already. He's a technically gifted player. He's a South American Gara, everything that we love. And we love that. You know, how many times have we get massively, do we get hyped up when Paredes, you know, almost spat on Rovella's face? That's what South America brings to football. And that's why you have to love South American jogo bonito, football, street football, Gara, everything, you know. That's what South American players bring. So it's a yes for me. I don't even need to justify why it's a yes. This is an absolute yes for me. Now, of course, look, it's not an easy deal. It's not an easy deal because I think not only is the amount of money a lot, because 30 million is a lot of money, especially if you're Roma. But I think it's also complicated because I think the competition around him is big. I know that I read that Palmeiras rejected 22 million from West Ham. They rejected 25 million from Porto. I know Inter want him to replace Çalhanoğlu, who apparently is going to leave. He's somebody that I like to use the word blitz because you either do this quick, or if you drag this, you're going to lose him because other teams are going to get him. It's that type of deal. And you know that it's a good deal by this because if so many teams want him and you manage to anticipate them, then these are the deals that normally work out well. Look at Kone. Everybody wanted Kone. We managed to, you know, be quick with him, get him before Milan wanted him, and we secured an absolute baller. So, yes, I would definitely go for him, but look, it's complicated. Di Marzio has confirmed that Roma have started talks, but Di Marzio has also confirmed that it's not an easy deal, that it's complicated, that a lot of teams want him, and yeah, look, that's the history when he's a good player. So yeah, that's my little thoughts on him. I also want to speak about Krstovic from Lecce, and I want to speak about Saelemaekers, because, of course, Saelemaekers won't be coming back. Would I have kept Saelemaekers? And the answer is yes. And yeah, I do want to share my thoughts on Saelemaekers because he basically posted that Instagram farewell from Roma yesterday, 2 days ago. Allegri had his media day today, his introductory press conference, and he said that he wants Saelemaekers to stay. So, yeah, I mean, let's start with Saelemaekers. I think I'd have kept him. I'd have kept him because I think in how do we kind of decipher? Is in a world of football where it is more and more complicated to spend good money for handy players, I think Saelemaekers was the perfect definition of this. I blame Ghisolfi here. I blame Ghisolfi because you never sign players on a dry loan. That kind of needs to be the number one law and the number one base rule of if you're a sporting director. If you want to loan a player in, good, but it should never be a dry loan. There needs to be an obligation, there needs to be an option to buy. You need to do something with the loan. And the issue with Saelemaekers and the Saelemaekers deal was that it was basically a swap of dry loans between Tammy Abraham and him. And if you kind of set up a deal like this, then he's never going to stay. So, Yeah, I blame Gizolfi because I'm not blaming Gizolfi on the loan part. It was kind of done in the last seconds of the transfer session. A loan was fair also because it was we gave Tammy the opportunity to go to Milan and try to prove himself with a loan. It's not the loan concept that I blame. It's the fact that you just don't sign players on dry loans. You need to put options, whether it's an option to buy or an obligation to buy, met certain criteria. You need to do that. And had you inserted an obligation or an option to buy, Saelemaekers would have stayed because Saelemaekers played great and he would have probably reached the bonuses that the contract would have said. He had 7 goals and 7 assists. It's not easy to find players. Now you look at the stats and you go 7 assists and 7 goals is not amazing. He missed 3 months of football. Remember, he got injured immediately and got back in November. That's August, September, October, and half of November because he got back in that Spurs game. I was in London, I remember very well. And that Spurs game was end of November. So August, September, October, November. That's 4 months he missed. So December, January, February, March, April, May. In 6 months, he got 7 goals and 7 assists. Saelemaekers had a great season. I would have loved to keep him. But yeah, look. Also on the money point of view. Now, I agree. 25 million, because Milan were initially asking 30 million, 25, 30 million. 25, 30 million for him is a lot. I would not have spent 30 million on Saelemaekers. But you had to insist on lowering it. You had to play on the fact that Saelemaekers really wanted to stay and that he had a great season. And you had to try and lower that to 15, 20 million, which I think it was possible. 15, 20 million for Saelemaekers in a world, in a modern era of football where players are massively valued is a bargain. I would have kept Saelemaekers for 15, 20 million every day of the week. He was a handy tool. He scored goals. He scored big goals. Assists and goals, had a great foot, and I think he adapted himself very well, which is not easy for players which come to Rome. So I would have kept him, and now you need to kind of replace him. You've got Sule, which of course played great at the end of last season. You need a right back. You need somebody which can play on that side, not only to add quality, but also to replace the performances of somebody like Saelemaekers who had a great season. So absolutely, I'm gutted that we didn't keep him. And I blame Gizolfi on this. I do. I also think the transition of sporting directors right now delayed the negotiations and contacts with Milan because we had to focus on sacking him and appointing the new director of football, which wasted time. But Allegri wants to keep him, so I don't think we're going to get any of Saelemaekers back. Right, I'm going to read a few comments and then I'm going to end it on Krstovic. If you haven't already, please do hit the like button, everyone. If everybody watching this right now can take 2 seconds to hit the thumbs up, it would be great. Please do it. It's free and it takes 2 seconds and it would be big to support the channel. This move just makes sense. I need him, says Vincent. This is the guy, I'm serious. The difference between Gasperini and every other coach at Roma is how he looks at players outside of Europe, says Forza. I appreciate you sending me a pic of your tattoo. Yeah, no problem, mate. Rios, no question. Paredes has to say thanks to AS Roma because AS Roma pushed him to real football categories. Yes. I'm so serious. I'd be fine if we have to have a wrench on the right, but we need aggression and size and posture in the midfield. Yeah. What do you think about Matt O'Reilly for 22 million? If we can get him for 10 million cheaper than Rios, I think we should take him definitely. He's interesting, but I prefer Rios. Also because I was reading O'Reilly's stats and he's a great player, but he got injured a lot last season. So out of the two, if I need to spend, and again, 30 million is the initial money that Palmeiras are asking. After several rounds of negotiations, you can try and lower that 30 million to 25 million. If you spend 25 million for Richard Rios, then I'd rather spend 3 million more than signing O'Reilly. You see? O'Reilly's interesting, but I prefer Rios, definitely. I would have loved to have kept Saelemaekers as Diana. If we got Garnacho though, yeah, not happening. Wages are too big. Thoughts about Nail El Ainawi? I read the contact and Fabrizio Romano's tweet, but I have never seen him play, so I can give no thoughts. It would be unfair on him and unfair on us. I've never seen him play. Gasperi and Neri Massara, the best trio of Italy. How much is Igor? I don't know who Igor is. I'd be happy with any one of Rios, Matt, or Neo. But there is so many clubs interested in. I doubt they will lower the price. Keep up the good work. Thank you, mate. Right, Krstovic. Again, we need a striker. But this is what baffles me about transfer sessions these days and transfer deals. Somebody explained to me how Lecce, who they don't even know themselves how they stayed up. Because they don't. Because for somebody who watches the Italian league every single weekend, Lecce are one of the teams that deserved to go down the most. They played horrible football. Every time I turned on the television and Lecce was on, Lecce never scored a goal. They don't know how they're safe. They're only safe because of Lazio's stupidity in losing the last game at home to them. I don't even know how they lost that game. You're Lecce. You're shit. You don't even know yourself how you managed to stay up. How do they have the power to go, no, we're not selling Krstovic for less than 35 to 40 million? Or are you mad? Like, not only would I say, keep him, I would also say, I hope you go down with him. How can you be Lecce and go, I'm only selling him for 35 to 40 million? He's a good striker because he is. Because if there's one light at Lecce, it's him. He's the only good player. He's the only player. He's the reason Lecce are up because he had good stats. He's a good player. But I would never even think about spending 35 to 40 million on him. Are you mad? Like, I'm not. No. I'd rather get Mikadadze, who Lyon need to sell because they're going down. Because, you see, I see Krstovic as a very interesting profile for Gasperini. He's the striker that Gasperini wants. And for lower money, I would get him. Also because he's got the ability to dethrone Dovbyk in moments of the season where Dovbyk is not fit and ready to start. Krstovic is not a bad name. He's not. I would go for him. But 35 to 40 million? No, absolutely not. You can keep him and you can go down with him. No, I'd rather go for somebody else. But yeah, a few sources are saying that Roma have asked information about him and are trying. He really wants to move. He posted a picture on Instagram a couple of days back wearing a Roma kit. Krstovic wants to move, but if Lecce don't lower their valuations, then it won't happen. And thank God it won't happen, because he's not worth that amount of money, number one. And even if he was, how are Lecce in a position to not go to not kind of lower their demands? 40 million for Krstovic is mad. 20 million I would go for him, but not more than 20 million. No, definitely not more than 20 million. And out of Mikadadze and Krstovic, I'd go with Mikadadze because of European experience and because of potential crack. I see Mikadadze exploding in the Italian league, so whoever gets him, I think, will get a good deal, because he's the player that could absolutely outplay this league. He scored a lot of goals in the French league, and apart from PSG, the French league is competitive, and the French league in terms of defenses is similar to Italy. So, yeah. But look, let's see. Yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow. Hit the like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts. Everybody hit the like button. As I always say this, really it does support the channel a lot, and it pushes these videos so more of you can watch them. So please hit it, and I'll catch you soon. Have a good one. Simo out.